Hello, is it audible? So you are all English medium students? Yes sir? So basically we are going to deal with polity. Okay? So which is both important for preliminary examination and mains examination. Okay? Especially polity knowledge is very important to write not only the general studies answers but also the essay answers also. If you have to write the essay in multi-dimensional views or multi-dimensional format, you need to understand the basic essence of polity. Otherwise, you will not be able to attempt. Okay? Right. So before we understand various aspects of the polity, because in the mains paper, that is general studies paper 3, right? Yes, in paper 3 we have society, polity and governance. Okay, in the polity section there are various dimensions of syllabus, right from the basic elements, that is nothing but evolution of the constitution, drafting of the constitution, salient features of the constitution. Okay, this is the first unit. Okay, the second unit is about the philosophical part of the constitution, philosophy of the constitution. The philosophy includes fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, fundamental duties, plus basic structure doctrine. Okay. Apart from this, we have also the chapter on amendments of the constitution. Okay. And next important thing is the governments and institutions. We have governments at union level, state level and local level. Okay, the details about okay. Okay, the details about the union, state and local governments are mentioned in the chapter 3. Next one is judiciary. Okay, the details of the judiciary at the union level, state level and district level judiciary. All these are mentioned in the 4th chapter. Coming to the 5th chapter, that is about federal system. Okay, what are the center-state relations? Okay, and what are the issues pertaining to the center-state relations? These are mentioned in the chapter 5. In this way, the syllabus is organized in very lucid format. There is a clarity because every term needs to be discussed, which is mentioned in the syllabus. Okay, right. So now tell me, how many of you are very much beginners who do not know the basics of polity? Yes. Okay, 5 members. Okay, 6. Okay, remaining people, you have little awareness, right? So you have attempted for group 2. Yes, group 2, group 3. Yes. Okay, no problem. So myself, Prithvi, I teach across all the institutions here. I teach at Law Excellence and Insights, Vishnu IAS and various institutions located in Ashok Nagar. You can see my picture over there. Okay, right. Right. First of all, what is the meaning of constitution? See, if you try to look at the basic pattern of group 1 examination, slowly and gradually they are aligning the examination on the lines of UPSC. they are very much asking the conceptual questions. Okay, of course facts will be there, but still the facts are molded in the conceptual format. Okay, without understanding the concepts, you will fail to understand the requirement of the question. That's why we need to understand the concepts very clearly. If you have the conceptual clarity, the advantage, even in the process of writing mains answer, the introduction part is all related to concept. If you want to introduce any answer, you need to have a clear definitions of various terms associated with the polity. So that will also be guiding you how to write the answer. Okay, right. So first of all, what is constitution? Do you have any idea what is constitution? Constitution means what? Right? It is nothing but basic rule framework explaining the functioning of the state. Okay, what is that? Basic rule framework. You understand, if any nation, if any agency or if any company, anything has to be operational, definitely we require to have rules and regulations. Okay, you take cricket match, what is important? Rules and regulations, so that every player will come to know about his responsibility and the basic duties he has to perform. Because of this reason, everything goes on in a smooth manner. Okay, that is also to be achieved even with respect to the country. Because country management of a nation is not that easy. Management of the country is not that easy. We have how many, what is the population? Almost all, 140 crore population in the country. Managing this level of population is impossible unless and until you have basic rule framework. This will help you to guide in the proper management of the resources, proper management of the public peace and tranquility, and also helping the development of the people. That is only possible because of the basic rule framework. Okay, and this rule framework will explain the functioning of the state. Okay, so this is something where you can. This is the basic definition. To try to understand the clear definition, the precise definition. Constitution is nothing but supreme law of the land. Constitution is nothing but, what is that? Supreme law of the land. And this law, what is the function of this law? This law explains the formation of the state, okay, and also explains the relationship between people and the state. Okay, write down this definition. Constitution is, write down. Please, you need to understand one point. In the class, you must be busy in writing and listening. Okay, don't sit idle, because when you write something, definitely that will be integrated into your mind. Okay, and one more important thing, don't have any superiority complex. Every basic element needs to be learned in the class. If you have learned prior, you unlearn the same thing and learn freshly here. Okay, right. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. The Constitution is supreme law of the land, which explains the formation of the state, state, and the relationship between people and the state, Okay, let us understand each and every word here. Okay, right. First of all, what is state? What is the meaning of state? Got my point? State means what? Can you equate the term state with state of Telangana? Can you equate the term with state of Andhra Pradesh? No. The term which is associated with polity is different. Okay, especially with the political science is different. Here the state means, it is the state means independent political system. Independent political system operated on a particular territory. What is that? Independent, write down. State means independent political system operated on a particular territory. Independent political system operated on a particular territory. Okay, right. Tell me whether our political system is dependent or independent. Independent. Okay, our political system is independent. Independent means we don't require to depend upon some other external authority for our management. We have our own existence. We have our own autonomy. Okay, in the process of managing the affairs of the country. Okay, for example, you just consider if government of India want to test a missile, does it take the permission from America? If it has to purchase oil from Russia, does it take permission of America or Western countries? No. We are independent political system. We are able to do anything. Got my point? We can define our relationship with any country. We don't have that kind of dependency on other country to take decisions in the country. That's why our system is independent political system, which is operated on a particular territory. Tell me whether India is having particular territory, geographical territory? Yes. Because part 1 of the constitution says that India is a union of states. India is a union of states. And it also explains the geographical extent of India. Geographical extent of India. To what extent we have the geographical system? To what extent we have the territory? For example, we have 28 states and 8 union territories. So this explains India is having particular territory. Okay, tell me whether India fits into the definition of the state? Yes or no? Yes. We have the political system. At the union level, Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, government is there. At the state level, we have government. At the local level also, we have the government. So this all constitutes what? Political system. Okay? And this political system is being operated on a particular geographical territory. That's why India is called as state. Got my point? Right. Next. The state, the next line, the state consists of 4 elements. Okay? The state consists of 4 elements. This is very, very important because in the examination, at least 30% of the questions comes generally which are easy. Everybody can be able to identify the answer for such questions. Okay? Where your success lies in where you must be able to solve the easy questions and you must also be able to solve difficult questions. So you should not be making any silly mistakes in the examination. That's why you need to learn even the basics also very strongly, right? So state consists of how many elements? 4 elements, which include, write down, first one, people. Second one, territory. People, territory. Third one, sovereignty. People, territory, sovereignty, and government. People, territory, sovereignty, and government. These are the 4 elements of the state. If any state is not having one of these elements, that cannot be called as state. Got my point? If any political system lacks one of these features, such system is not state. Okay? Whether India is state or not, considering these 4 elements? Yes. Why? Because we have the people. We have the territory, which is defined under the part 1 of the constitution. Number 3, government. What is that? Government. Okay. Right. Now tell me, what is the meaning of government? Okay. Government means what? It is a group of people who are vested with the management of the resources and country, and who are vested with the responsibility to implement the policy. Right down. Government means Government means it is a group of people. It is the group of people. It is the group of people vested with VESTED. Vested. Vested means they have been given such power. Vested with. Okay. The power to implement. The power to implement the public policy. Power to implement the public policy and managing the affairs of the country. Managing the affairs of the country or region. Country or a region. Managing the affairs of the country or a region. Managing the affairs of the country or a region. Okay? Region. Okay. Now in Telangana we have government or not? Yes. Who is government here? Chief Minister and Council of Ministers. You have any basic awareness regarding the politics? Who got elected recently? Congress Party or BRS? Congress Party. And who came into power? Revanth Reddy and his Council of Ministers. Revanth Reddy and his Council of Ministers. Chief Minister and Council of Ministers. This group of people, see, these are called as group of people. At the state level, who are the group of people? Chief Minister and Council of Ministers. At the union level, who are the group of people? Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. Prime Minister and Council of Ministers have been given the responsibility to manage the affairs of the country. Chief Minister and Council of Ministers have been given the responsibility to manage the affairs of a region or state. This is what called as government. Got my point? Right. And what is the feature of Indian government? In India, whether the government is elected or appointed, that is, they are assuming the office on the basis of the inheritance. Elected. Okay, that's why we call India is a democracy. What is democracy? Can you define what is democracy? The rulers are elected by the people. Elected by the people. Okay, so that kind of election procedure is called as democracy. Okay, write down. Democracy means, next, democracy means the election of government by the people. Election of government by the people. So hence India is a democratic country. Okay, right. Next, what is the meaning of sovereignty? Just now I told you what is sovereignty. Ultimate power vested with the people of this country is called as sovereignty. Okay, write down. Sovereignty means management of the affairs of the country. Management of the affairs of the country independently. Management of the affairs of the country independently without having any external authority. Without having any external authority outside to the country. What is that? Outside to the country. Without having external authority outside to the country. Okay, right. Tell me whether India has any authority outside to the country? No. We don't have any external authority. Okay. For example, India has conducted nuclear tests twice. One is during Indira Gandhi and secondly during Vajpayee. During these two instances, India has conducted nuclear tests. Testing nuclear power is not that easy. Do you know this? Because India was actually sanctioned by Western powers. America has clearly imposed sanctions stating that nobody should sell any essential commodities to India. Why? Because they wanted to put the India under their control. But whether India was brought under the control of America? No. Did India yield to the external pressure? No. Why? Because we are having the independent character. Despite any external pressures that are existing, we don't want to go under their influence. This is what called as ultimate power. ultimate power that is vested with the people and government. Okay, are you able to understand? Even recently also, Ukraine, when in the context of Ukraine and Russia war, the Western countries wanted to cripple Russia with financial difficulties. For that reason, they have instructed all the countries not to purchase oil, so that Ukraine can win the war over Russia. But India has taken that decision. Has it followed that particular instruction? No. Still we gone forward to purchase the oil from Russia. And even our foreign affairs minister has given the media brief stating that the headache of Western Europe is not headache of India. We have our own headaches, we have our own concerns. We need to satisfy our own energy security. Just because to make the Western people happy, we don't take any decisions. What is that? Nothing but sovereignty. Got my point? And India was pressurized by other countries, okay, to sign a CTBT. What is that? Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. If you sign this particular treaty, what will happen? India cannot conduct any nuclear test in future. Got my point? This is what the measure of sovereignty. Got my point? India fought war against Pakistan when Pakistan occupied Kargil. Got my point? It has fought vehemently and recovered the occupied portions of the Kashmir. This is what also? Sovereignty. Got my point? So hence India qualify definitely to be the state because it is having the elements, important elements such as people, territory, government and sovereignty. Got my point? So now, so did you got the clarity with respect to what is state? Formation of the state. What is that? Formation of the state. So it means in India, state is constituted with union government, state government and local government. Okay, write down. Before you write, just listen to me, one important point. Actually I told you, constitution is nothing but it's a rule book. Yes or no? Yes, it is nothing but a rule book. The rule book explaining both of these two things. Okay? And each and every rule is numbered in the constitution. Basically, the rules must be numbered, right? Such numbered rules in the constitution are called as, what is that? Articles. Got my point? What is the article? Article is nothing but the rules which are numbered in the constitution. Such numbered rules are called as articles. So that you can easily identify every provision which is associated with the functioning of the government and rights of the people. Otherwise, what will happen? It is difficult to identify whatever that is written in the constitution. That's why everything is organized and arranged in the form of various articles. How many articles we have in the constitution? 395 articles are there. The numbered articles means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth till 395. 395 articles are there. If you count the total number of articles, approximately it comes around 470. Okay, around 470. So total number of articles is there, different, and numbered articles are different. Got my point? How they can become different? Because every article will be having its own subclauses. It will be having its own subclauses. Just I will explain. Okay. For example, you just take article 19. Article 19. Okay. That is about the freedom. Okay. Granting certain freedoms to the people. So it contains article 19 clause 1. Any numerical which is very much adjacent to the article is called as clause. What is clause? Any numerical or alphabet which is very much beside to this article is called as clause. Okay, and any numerical or alphabet which is adjoining to this particular clause is called as, what is this? Subclause. Okay, this is article. Article. Tell me, can you pronounce this? Article 19, clause 1, subclause A. Article 19, clause 1, subclause A. This is article, this is clause, and this is subclause. When you count the number of articles in the constitution as 395, you don't count these clauses and subclauses. You just count 19, 20, 21 that way. But when you are counting every article in the constitution, you have to count clauses and subclauses. Then it comes around 470. Got the clarity? Yes or no? Yes. This is what called as article. Okay. Write down. Article 12 of the Constitution. Article 12 of the Constitution. Article 12 of the Constitution defines what is state. Article 12 of the Constitution defines what is state. Article 12 of the Constitution defines what is state. Okay, right? It includes union government and union legislature. It includes union government and union legislature, state government and state legislature, state government and state legislature. Okay, and third one, local and other authorities. Local and other authorities. Local and other authorities. Okay, write it again. Local and other authorities under Government of India. Okay, local and other authorities under Government of India. 4 definitions, 4 forms have been given here. One is union government and union legislature, state government and state legislature, local and other authorities under Government of India. So this is how the Constitution is talking about what is that? Formation of the state. Got my point? Right. Next, let us also understand what is the relationship between the people and the state. Okay, right. Now tell me just, all of you are having rights or not? Yes. What is the meaning of right? If a person is able to choose his own choice, that is called as right. Without being interfered by any person or agency, if you are able to take your day-to-day decisions, that is nothing but right. Okay. The authority of the person over himself is nothing but right. Got my point? Right down. Right means the ability of the person, to make the ability of a person to make free choices in his life. The ability of a person to make free choices in his life without any external interference. Without any external interference. That is called as right. Have you had all of you had breakfast? Can anybody stop you? Don't have breakfast? Anybody instructed you to have breakfast only in a particular hotel? No, because you are able to make free choice. That is what your right. Got my point? The right is manifested in various forms. You can speak whatever you want. Okay, you can go whatever place you want to go. Okay, you can live any place in the city. You can reside in star hotel or you can reside in your hostel. Nobody would have any objection. Got my point? That is nothing but, what is it? Right. Okay, write down. In other words, the right means, the authority of a person over himself. The authority of a person over himself is called as right. Okay, right. Now tell me, if you are exercising these rights in unlimited manner, okay, tell me, does it lead to peace and order in the society? Without any controls on your rights, if you are given a free choice to do whatever you want, is it good for the people or bad for the people? Bad for the people. Because what will happen, those who are very much powerful, they are able to enjoy more rights. Those who are very much powerless, they are not able to enjoy complete rights. Okay, you can see the disparities between the poor people and the rich people. Difference between weak people and strong people. That is not an ideal situation. That is not an ideal situation because everybody are having their own rights. These are natural to the individual. Rights are not gifted by any external agency or any source. We born with our own rights. So that's why nobody has any right to take away our rights. Okay, so that's why you need to ensure a proper harmony in the society, a coordination in the society, a peaceful coexistence in the society. Got my point? But tell me whether human behavior is predictable or unpredictable. Can you guess the human behavior? No. Human behavior is highly unpredictable. Human beings have animal-like instincts. Sometimes we don't have any control on our body. Sometimes. That is what animal-like instincts. Definitely, that's why you can't give any free hand to the individual to enjoy his rights according to his own choices. That's why there must be some sort of controls on the individual rights. There must be some sort of controls on the individual rights. Then how the control should be? How the control should be? Should they be reasonable or unreasonable? Reasonable. Controls must be reasonable. What is the meaning of reasonable? Reasonable means the restrictions which are imposed only when they are needed. When they are needed. For example, during the COVID time, okay, people were imposed with a lot of restrictions on their movement. Yes or no? Don't go there, don't come here, and you are permitted to come on the roads only in this particular time. Such kind of restrictions have been imposed on the individual. Tell me, are they reasonable or unreasonable? Reasonable. Why they are reasonable? Because if their movement is permitted unlimitedly, that may lead to the spread of COVID virus. That may lead to the damage to the public health. That's why such restrictions have been imposed. These are reasonable. Got my point? Similarly, when you are going on the road, police officers every time insist you need to wear the helmet when you are riding a bike. Okay? You can say that, can you say that, why are you imposing these kind of rules on me? No. Why? Because these are reasonable. These are needed. Got my point? So hence in the society, when we want to live our life or lead our life peacefully, happily, and we have to realize our own real potential, okay, you need to have a kind of reasonable restrictions on the rights of the people. Reasonable restrictions on the rights of the people. That's why people came together and they have formed the state. They have formed the state. Okay. Let us have a state. Why the state is required? To impose the reasonable restrictions on the rights of the people. The state will be managing the people. The state will be managing the people. Because people cannot manage themselves. There must be some external authority to manage the affairs of the people. That's why state is created. Not only creation of the state, people have a clear relationship between the state and the people. What is the relationship between the people and state? Let us understand this point very clearly, right? So we have people who created, what is that? State. State is not, it is not a divine creation. State is not the divine creation. It is not gifted by the God. It is created by the people for their own self-management, And in this process of creation of the state, people have submitted their rights to the state. How many rights? Only few of rights. Few of rights are submitted to the state. And the state will be giving the protection for the rest of the rights. For the rest of the rights. Are you able to understand this relationship? People have submitted few of rights to the state. For example, do you have the right to wield the arms, weapons AK-47? Carry them on the roads? Can you do that? No. Why? We have submitted such right to state. Without the permission of the state, we can't hold any weapon. We can't, use any weapon. Got my point? Right. According to Hindu Marriage Act, how many marriages you get performed with? One marriage or multiple marriages? One marriage. So that is nothing but you have submitted that right to the state. Got my point? Right? And whatever you do, suppose you manufacture a car, a vehicle, okay? Whether the vehicle should be having the pollution norms according to the standards set by the government or your own standards set by the government. BS6 norms we are following, right? Yes, so these are set by the state. You are submitting your rights to state. And what does the state do? It will be giving the protection for the rest of the rights. Few of the rights you have submitted to the state, and for the rest of the rights, who will be protecting? State will be protecting. For example, you have submitted your weapon holding rights to the state, and in return what the state is doing, even in the midnight 12 o'clock, if you dial 100, immediately police will be rushing to the place where you are there. If you are in danger, you can dial 100. What does it mean? The state is protecting the rights of the people, irrespective of the time, irrespective of the place. State is not stating that we will be protecting you only in the daylight, but also in the night time also. So state will be working 24/7 for you, for the protection of the rights of the people. Got my point? Can you find a particular relationship between the people and state? Yes or no? Yes. People are submitting their rights to the state, few of their rights. In return, the state is giving the protection for the rest of the rights of the people in the form of reasonable restrictions. So this particular relationship is given in the Constitution. Now did you understand? Constitution is nothing but supreme law. Which explains the formation of the state and also explains the relationship between the people and state. In other words, Constitution defines the purpose of the government. Defines the purpose. For what reason this government is established? For what reason this political system is established? For example, during the Telangana movement, okay, what were the major demands of the people? Got my point? What were the major demands? Neelu, Nidulu Mariyu, Niyamaka. And every politician and every activist in the movement were assuring the people, if Telangana is established, we will be providing these things to the people. Got my point? Similarly, during the freedom struggle, because we were under the colonial rule, right? Yes or no? We were under the British rule. Whether British rule is very good form of government, is it good state? Is it benevolent state? Is it welfare state? No. Got my point? Actually, we people have gone through different phases of our political life, in fact, prior to this independence. For example, you take before the British administration, there was Mughal administration. You can say it is the Mughal state. First one is Mughal state. Of course, before that also there were many dynasties, but Mughal was the latest dynasty. That's why I am taking here. Okay, Mughal dynasty. And after that, which government was in existence? British government. You can say it is the British state. Got my point? And after that, which state came into existence? That is none other than independent state. Independent state. Okay. In this way, there were 3 types of states here. Okay. Right. So now you look at, actually when the constitution was being made in the Constituent Assembly, I will discuss how the constitution was drafted, everything detailedly. When the constitution was being drafted, Jawaharlal Nehru, he has spoken about the purpose of this constitution. He says, this paper constitution will become purposeless. Got my point? This paper constitution will become purposeless if we are not able to bring the progressive changes in the lives of the people. If you are not able to bring the social economic change in the lives of the people, this constitution is meaningless. Because you understand, Indian society is not free of problems. Actually, we must always understand, Gandhiji always spoken about this point repeatedly. What is that, we don't even have only external enemy, we also have the internal enemy. Okay, we have both 2 kinds of enemies. One is external enemy, second one is internal enemy. What is the external enemy? The British government is the external enemy. But whereas internal enemy is something which is casteism, religionism, that is communalism, okay, regionalism, gender bias, and suppression of the women. These are all what? Internal enemies. Got my point? You take any country which is developed. Today we are importing technology from so-called societies. The technology development, the progress is possible only the society is reformed. Only when the society is reformed. Indian society is having many inequalities. Lot of poverty we have, and that poverty is largely associated with the downtrodden sections. Those sections which are termed to be low caste and which are also having the deeper inequalities, deeper level of inequalities. So in order to change the lives of the people, you need to bring the changes into the lives of the people. That's why the constitution must be purposeful. The constitution must be purposeful. Okay, so that's why if you try to compare Mughal state, British state and independent state, Mughal state, the Mughal administration was more interested. The Mughal administration was more interested in tax collection. What is that? Tax collection. That's why Mughal state is called as tax gathering state. What is that? Tax gathering state. Mughal state is nothing but tax gathering state. Got my point? Got my point? For example, if you try to go to any police officer in the local police station, how is he named as? Is he named as Colonel General, Inspector General, or you can say, what is that, Major? Such kind of nomenclature is there for SIs? No. SI is different, army officer is different. Got my point? In India, what is clearly differentiated? Army is different, police is different. Okay, army ranks are different, police ranks are different. Okay, such differentiation is there in India. And even in the state also, we can see revenue department, irrigation department, welfare department. In this way, various departments are also there. But during the Mughal administration, the same person is the army officer, the same person is the military officer, the same person is the police officer, the same person is everything. The same person is everything. Every officer required to maintain some army. Every officer required to maintain some army. You understand? Whether that officer is polite towards the people or harsh towards the people. If you are having this much power, uncontrolled power, what kind of behavior you will display with the people? Definitely it is harsh power. If you don't pay the taxes, I will punish you immediately. I will punish you immediately. Got my point? That's why the state was more interested in tax collection. What is that? Tax collection. Okay? And come to the British state. Come to the British state. The purpose of the British state, actually the nature of the British state, if you try to look at, that is called as police state. What is this state is about? What is this? Police state. Police state means what? Applying the repression force over the people. Suppressing the people in every dimension. Suppressing the people in every dimension. Your rights will be suppressed. Your political expression will be suppressed. Your industrial activity is also suppressed. Everything is suppressed by the state. That's why it is called as police state. మీరు ఎప్పుడైనా వింటుంటారు, ఇది పోలీస్ జులుం నశించాలి అని అంటారు. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇది పోలీస్ రాజ్యం అంటారు. విన్నర్ ఎప్పుడైనా? దిస్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఎ డెమోక్రటిక్ స్టేట్. ఇదేంటి? పోలీస్ స్టేట్ అంటారు. అంటే పోలీస్ స్టేట్ మీన్స్ వాట్? ఇట్ ఈస్ ద స్టేట్ విచ్ సప్రెసెస్ ద రైట్స్ ఆఫ్ ది పీపుల్, which is equipped with unlimited power, which is equipped with unlimited power to suppress the rights of the people, to suppress the rights of the people. I think in the school days you might have studied about Rowlatt Act. Do you remember what is that Rowlatt Act? Rowlatt Act means what? Of 1919. Rowlatt Act of 1919. What is this act? You know, this act empowers the police officer to arrest any person and imprison any person without any trial. Without any trial. Got my point? Arresting the person and imprisoning the person without any, what is that? Trial. What is the meaning of trial? Trial means what? Determination of the guilt of the person. Okay? Not only arresting, before you jailing the person, you need to decide whether this person has committed crime or not. Whether this person has committed crime or not. Who has to decide this? Whether the police officer has to decide or judge has to decide. Judge has to decide because he is a third party. He is a neutral person. Police is having the interest to book him, but judge may not be having the interest either to leave the person alone or to book the person. So that's why judge is the independent person. So that independent person need to decide whether the crime is really committed by the person or not. That particular process of determination of the guilt of the person is called as What is that? Trial. Okay. So no person shall be imprisoned without trial. No person shall be imprisoned without any trial. This is what mentioned in our constitution. This is what mentioned in our constitution. But during the British rule, show the man, I will show the rule. You show the any person, I will show the rule which is suitable to him. Which is suitable to him. That power is called as arbitrary power. What is that? Arbitrary power. Right now? Arbitrary power means the power exercised by the person, or authority, at his own likes and dislikes. At his own likes and dislikes. Got my point? Suppose you are going on a bike on a road. Police have stopped you. They have stopped you and your friend. Okay? You don't have the helmet and he also does not have the helmet. Police have left him and they have caught you. And they have asked you to pay penalty. Tell me, is it legal or illegal? Are you able to understand? Legal. Why it is legal? You have violated the law. But is it fair or arbitrary? Got my point? I am asking you whether it is legal or illegal. Legal. Why it is legal? You have violated the law. Because law says you need to wear the helmet. But you did not wear the helmet. That's why it is illegal. But is it fair or arbitrary? Arbitrary. Why it is arbitrary? Because your friend has been omitted by the police, he was permitted to go away, but the police have caught you, they have booked you. Because both of you have violated the law. For this reason, both of you have to be punished. But one of you have been punished and one person has been left by the police. That kind of activity is called as arbitrariness. What is that? Arbitrariness. Got my point? Right. So this is what Mughal state and the police. Write down next line. Indian Constitution establishes the state Did you write this relationship between state and people? Yes or no? Okay. Indian Constitution establishes the state with a particular purpose. That is to bring Indian Constitution establishes the state with a particular purpose, that is to bring a radical change in the social and economic spheres of life. Okay. Thus, according to Jawaharlal Nehru, the paper constitution, write down, the paper constitution will become purposeless. The paper constitution will become purposeless if it does not achieve any purpose. Got my point? Right? Okay. Next line. If you look at different states, across the Indian history, three patterns Three patterns are visible. Three patterns are visible. Three patterns are visible. Okay, which include first one, Mughal state. Mughal state. Mughal state. Right down. It is a state. It is a state which is known as. It is a state which is known as tax gathering state. Tax gathering state. And the state is not interested. The state is not interested. Socio-economic reconstruction of the society. Socio-economic reconstruction of the society. Socio-economic reconstruction of the society. And the administrative system was not favorable. The administrative system was not favorable to enjoy basic rights in the society. To enjoy what is the right? Basic rights in the society. Basic rights in the society. Okay, right. So is it democratic state or undemocratic state? Undemocratic state. It does not give any scope for the opinions of the people. Okay, right. Next, British state. Next one, British state. British state. Right on? It is the most repressive state. It is the most, what is that? Repressive state. Repressive state. Where the state has no concern. The state has no concern over the rights of the people. The state has no concern over the state has no concern over the rights of the people, and dominates the people in every sphere of their life. Dominates the people in every, what is that? Sphere of their life. In every sphere of their life. In every sphere of their life. Okay? So hence it is called police state. Hence it is called police state. Okay? Right. Next line. Despite the presence of, right down, despite the presence of a strong legal system, despite the presence of a strong legal system during the British time, the British state proved itself to be arbitrary in the most of the times. Proved itself to be arbitrary in most of the times. Okay? Example, Rowlatt Act of 1919. Example, Rowlatt Act of 1919. Rowlatt Act of 1919, where the police officer has a power. The police officer has a power to imprison a person, without any trial. without any trial. Okay, right on trial means right on trial, because such kind of statements can be asked in the examination. Which of the following is correct regarding the trial? That kind of questions can be asked. Okay, trial means the judicial determination regarding the guilt of a person. Judicial determination regarding the guilt of a person. Guilt means the wrong. Okay, guilt of a person. That is called as trial. Okay, right. So this is what British state. We understood what is Mughal state, what is British state. Now what is our Indian state? Welfare state. Right on. Next line. On the other hand, Indian state. On the other hand, Indian state is welfare state. Indian state is what? What is that? Welfare state. Okay. What is welfare state? Welfare state means what? Got my point? Did you understand? I explained you what is tax gathering state. I explained you what is police state. What is welfare state? Okay. Welfare state means the state is organized, the state is performing various functions for the benefit of the people, for the well-being of the people, for the overall well-being of the people, is called as welfare state. Okay. Suppose if the people don't have the food to eat, for example, just imagine this condition. Suppose you are living in a rural area. Okay. You don't do any work. You simply sit idle at home. Okay. Do you get food for eating? Yes, you will get food because of the ration shop. Government freely distributes the ration. Is it charging money nowadays? No. At free of cost, the government is disbursing. Even it imposes any cost, it is nominal. It is just 1 or 2 rupees per kg, right? Okay. You will get sufficient rice to eat. Okay. You are just simply sleeping in the home with fan. Okay. Do you require to pay the current bill now? No. Up to 200 units it is free. Got my point? You get some pain, headache or any fever, you have the government hospital. Suppose you are a lady, if you want to go to government hospital, you don't have money to go. RTC. Got my point? You want to get married being a lady, suppose. Government will give you one tula gold, that is 10 grams gold, and 1 lakh rupees money. Got my point? And when you go for any maternity, government delivers a baby free of cost, and on the top of that, government will give you money. And government drops you at home. And you need to eat food, nutritious food, right, at that point of time. Then Anganwadi center is there. It will be giving you eggs, milk, and all the nutrition. Asha worker visits your home. Asha worker visits your home and she will give you all the necessary medicine, and she will also track your development and growth, baby development and growth, or your health. Got my point? You understand how hand holding is given by the state. Suppose you commit a crime, but still you don't have the advocate to defend you. The government will be providing you free legal aid. Advocate assistance is given. Government will be paying a court fee. Are you able to understand? So tell me how your life is there without earning money also. What is the nature of this state? That's why, what is this? Welfare state. In any given year, crop is failed completely. Government will waive off your loan. Whatever the agricultural loans you have taken, those all will be waived off by the government. Okay. So this is why Indian state is called as, what is that? Welfare state. It will ensure the basic existence on the earth without any difficulty. Okay. That's why Indian state is called as welfare state. It is genuinely interested in the well-being of the people. Genuinely interested in the well-being of the people. Got my point? So that's why Constitution not only tells what are the restrictions on the government with respect to the rights of the people, but also explains also what are the duties of the governments to be performed towards the people. Right on? The welfare state means the state is genuinely interested. The state is genuinely interested in the well-being of the people, genuinely interested in the well-being of the people, socially, economically and politically. Socially, economically and politically. Such state is called as welfare state. Okay? Right. State is like mother, state is like father. Right? I don't know, sometimes your mother and father may become rivals to you, but state will not become rival. Because state is interested in the rights of every person. Okay? Right. Right on? Does the state requires to perform certain duties towards the people. Duties towards the people. Are you able to understand? First point, right down, first point. Providing the social environment in the country, without any discrimination. What is that? Social environment in the country without any discrimination. What is the meaning of discrimination? In bracket write down, discrimination means bracket low. Discrimination means showing any unfavorable treatment. Showing any unfavorable treatment. Continuation, or showing any unfavorable distinction, between two individuals, showing any unfavorable distinction between two individuals. That is called as discrimination. Okay, suppose if you all come to this class, I say some people to be sitting on the floor and some people to be sitting on the chairs. What is this? Nothing but discrimination. Okay, so that discrimination need to be eliminated from the society. Okay, right on. Example, Article 17 of the Constitution. Abolishes, what is it? Abolishes untouchability. Untouchability. Untouchability means what? It is the outcome of the caste-based discrimination. Because somebody is being identified as Dalits and such people are socially maintained in a distance. That is nothing but untouchability. If you are showing any discrimination on the basis of the caste, that is nothing but untouchability. So that kind of untouchability need to be removed from the society. What is the duty? The duty is carried by Indian state. It has to create such a kind of social environment in the country. Okay, next point. Not only we have the caste system in the society, what kind of problem we have? Inequality. What is that? Inequality. Right on. The state requires to eliminate inequality. The state requires to eliminate the inequality in terms of the state requires to eliminate inequality in terms of wealth and income. Got my point? The state requires to eliminate the inequality in terms of wealth and income. Actually, there was a Zamindar, you are very much aware of the facts related to Telangana than me, okay? There was a Zamindar in Hyderabad state called Vishnu Ramchandra Reddy. Do you know this personality? How much land he was having, 50,000 acres. How much? 50,000 acres. Okay, this much wealth he is having. During the time of Nizam government, many such kind of Zamindars was patronized by the Nizam. There was a class called wealthy class, there was a poor class. And poor class was being exploited by this wealthy class. And because of this reason, they have accumulated a lot of wealth with them. Now tell me, if you have to define the better economic life of the people, what do you require to do? You need to distribute this excess wealth associated with the person to other people in the society. What is that called? Distribution of wealth. Distribution of wealth. Okay, write down example. Article 39, class B and C. Article 39, look at this, 39 class B and C, aims at economic equality among the people. Economic equality among the people. Got my point? Yes. Next. Everyone requires to be provided with sufficient work. Everyone requires to be provided with what is that? Sufficient work. Example, Article 41. Example, Article 40. I will explain all these things, don't worry. Just for the sake of idea I am talking about, okay? Example, Article 41. So that everyone will be provided with work. Example, MG Narega. Do you know Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act? In the villages, they do only 3 hours work. Only nominal work. But they are given with almost 200 to 300 rupees per day. So this kind of amount will be given for 3 months. That is at least 100 days work will be given for the rural unemployed people. That is being discharged according to which article? 41. Got my point? Next. Every person must be given opportunity for the education. Every person must be given an opportunity for the education. Example, same Article 41, because it also talks about right to education. Article 45, which is about pre-primary education. What is that? Pre-primary education. Pre-primary education means 3 to 6 years of your age. If you are provided with the education, that is called as pre-primary education. Okay. Article 21A. Look at this. Article 21A, capital A. That is not clause. You should not pronounce it as a clause. Article 21A. Okay. When it is bracketed, that is called clause. Otherwise, you should pronounce it as 21A. Right? Right to education. 21A, right to education for the children between the age of 6 to 14 years. 6 to 14 years, which must be free and compulsory. Right down. Which must be free and compulsory. Did you understand? These are nothing but the duties of the state as far as the welfare state is concerned. We are expanding the term welfare state. How the state is genuinely interested in the welfare of the individuals. In all these spheres of life, the state is interested. Even you don't want to study, the state forcefully educate you under Article 21A. Like a father, it will also be showing the same concern. That's why in Kautilya, the Arthashastra, Kautilya says, the happiness of the king lies in the happiness of the subjects. The happiness of the king lies in the happiness of subjects. అంటే ప్రజలు సంతోషంగా ఉంటేనే రాజు సంతోషంగా ఉంటాడు. So the same philosophy is being followed by Indian constitution in the form of the welfare state. In the form of welfare state. Next point, write down. Next point. The state is interested. The state is interested. The state is interested in raising the living standards of the, the state is interested in raising, RAISING, raising the living standards of the people, the living standards of the people in the form of better nutrition and health facilities. Better nutrition and health facilities. Example Article 47. Example Article 47. Okay. These are some examples how the welfare state is interested in the people of this country. How the state is trying to ensure a proper living conditions for the people of the country. That is explained in this particular format. Okay, right. Next line. Right done. Not only the constitution, not only, next line, not only the constitution, imposes the duty on the state, imposes the duties on the state, imposes the duties on the state. These are all duties or not? Yes. Okay. In bracket write down. The duties are mentioned. The duties are mentioned under part 4 of the constitution. The duties are mentioned under which part? Part 4 of the constitution. Part 4 of the constitution, which is titled as what is the title as? Directive Principles of State Policy, which is titled as Directive Principles of what is that? State Policy. Okay. What did you write? The constitution not only imposes duties on the state. The duties are titled as DPSP. It also continuation. It also mentions the restrictions on the state. It also mentions what is that? Restrictions on the state. Restrictions on the state. It means, right on next line. It means the constitution mentions both do's of the government and don'ts of the government. The constitution mentions both, what is that? Do's of the government and don'ts of the government. Okay. Do's are nothing but, tell me what is that? DPSP. Do's are nothing but DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. What is state is supposed to do for the people? Okay, because we are establishing what? Welfare state. What is that? Welfare state. Welfare state means the gradual reconstruction of the social and economic life of the people, which is beneficial to the people. The social and economic life of the people must be established in a proper manner, so that you shall not be exploited by any person, no bonded labor. You should be given with nutritious food. You should not be exploited by any industrial undertaking. Wherever you work, you must be able to get suitable conditions of work, proper drinking water, proper basic facilities in the factory. Such things need to be established. Okay? And if any person is in the old age, he must be assisted by the state, because he is no means to earn money for himself. That's why he must be assisted. That's why pensions are given. That's why pensions are given. And the vulnerable people like women and children, they need very good protection in the society, because women have been put to historical injustice. Women have suffered, what is that? Historical injustice. If you try to trace the history, entire history is filled with the injustice to the women. Injustice to the women. Got my point? I think you know better history than me. Okay, Shatavahanas, during the time of Shatavahanas, especially the kings were following the Vedic religion. Kings were following the Vedic religion. The wives were following, the women were following what? Jainism or Buddhism. Got my point? Why they were not following Vedic religion? If the husband is following one religion, why the wife should be following another religion? The reason is simple. What is that you know? Vedic religion grants salvation to the men only, not to the women. Vedic religion grants the salvation. Salvation means merger with God, ultimate moksha, liberation of the soul. We will not be able to get rebirth if our soul is salvated. But such kind of salvation, if you don't get rebirth, means you don't get any problem, right? Got my point? The problems will come only when you are having the birth. If you don't have the birth, means you are liberated from all the problems. That is nothing but salvation. That salvation was provided only to the men. And not only to the men, but also Brahmins and Kshatriyas. For Shudras and other people, the salvation was not available. And even women were also not available with the salvation. That's why women used to join Jainism or Buddhism, where the salvation is given to everybody. The salvation is given to everybody. Got my point? And in the Vedic religion, sati practice was there. What is that? After the death of the husband, the women has to be thrown onto the funeral pyre. అంటే కాలుతున్న చితిలోకి ఏం చేయాలి? మహిళల్ని తోసేయాలి అంతే. అర్థమవుతుందా? Tell me how brutal is this? How cruel is this? Is it correct? Not. It is not at all correct. When the wife dies, husband can remarry. But when husband dies, wife cannot remarry. That is nothing but prohibition of widow remarriage, which is dangerous. Got my point? Likewise, many atrocities have been placed on the women. Now we should free the women from all these atrocities, because we have established the constitution. So we need to give a free life to the women. We need to liberate the women from all these shackles of slavery. అంటే ఈ బానిస సంకల నుంచి women ని ఏం చేయాలి? విముక్తి చేయాలి. That's why constitution provides special provisions for women under article 15 class 3. Got my point? So in this way you are giving a new lease of life to the vulnerable sections in the society, to the vulnerable sections. Any section is vulnerable, any section is backward, you need to give some upliftment. If they don't have educational facilities, give them reservation. If they are not able to, have a good conditions to achieve the public job, you give them reservation in the public jobs. Okay? If Dalits have to get empowered economically, financially, give them loans, give them financial assistance. This is how we are reconstructing the society. What is that? Reconstructing the society, because society is not in the good phase at the time of independence. Society was completely in a dangerous situation. That kind of society must be corrected back to the normalcy by using the constitution. Okay, that's why constitution is a tool to achieve the social revolution. Constitution is a tool to achieve the social revolution. A radical change in the patterns of lives in the society. That is what a welfare state, that is given in the, what is that? Directive principles of state policy, stating that what are the dues of the government. Okay, but just because you have given these responsibilities on the government, are you giving a free license to the government to interfere with the rights of the people? Are you able to understand? Just because you are giving the Shadi Mubarak or Kalyana Lakshmi, okay, Do you have any right to force the women to get married soon? No. This is ultimately the choice of the women. This is ultimately the choice of the people how to lead their life. That's why state shall not be unnecessarily interfering into the lives of the people. State shall not be unnecessarily interfering into the lives of the people. For that reason, we need to impose certain, restrictions on the government's power. Restrictions on the power of the state. That is imposed in the form of fundamental rights. That is imposed in the form of fundamental rights. Are you able to understand? In the name of DPSP, we are charging the state with some responsibilities. In the name of fundamental rights, we are limiting the power of the state. Limiting the power of the state. Got my point? Write down next line. The Constitution imposes certain restrictions on the power of the state. On the power of the state. To ensure no unnecessary restriction, no unnecessary interference with the rights and liberties of the people. With the rights and liberties of the people. With the rights and liberties of the people. Okay? Got my point? Yes. So that's why, what does the Constitution provides? What? Constitution provides what? Fundamental rights. Okay? Fundamental means basic rights. Basic rights are provided. Okay? For every individual. Okay? These fundamental rights will ensure preservation of the individual. What is that? Preservation of the individual. For example, you just imagine North Korea. How North Korean ruler imposes the restrictions on the people, He imposes the restrictions such as everybody must be having similar hairstyle that is published by the government. You can't have your own hairstyle. You can't have your own pattern of dressing. Got my point? Everything is dictated by the state. That's why he is called dictator. That's why he is called as dictator. He dictates everything. He is the king. He is the legislature. He is the judiciary. He is the executive. He is the doer of everything. He is ultimate. And the people will is not ultimate. The opinion of the people is nothing for the state. Whose opinion is matter? The ruler's opinion matters. Tell me whether that environment gives the opportunity to realize your full potential or talent. Are you able to understand my question? If such kind of suffocating environment is there, that environment will facilitate your development. No, you can't achieve anything. You can't realize your full potential in that kind of societies. That is very difficult. Recently, almost all 1 lakh people have left India. Do you know this? Youth population, young people have left India to get the citizenship of abroad. That is America, Canada and other countries. Got my point? Why people have left the country? What is the reason? What is the potential reason? Tell me. Right? Why? Yes, for the better opportunities they have gone there. Okay. Number 2, they feel the government is less interfering into the lives of the people in America. More interference you can see in the case of India. Got my point? In America, the interference of the government is very, very minimal. In India, the interference is very much maximum. Got my point? You can see you can hear many instances where lock-up deaths were there. Lock-up deaths. Police arrest a person and simply put him to torture, leading to the death of the person. Like that kind of instances are quite common in the day-to-day life of our society. Which is not good for the society. That's why people have gone there. Are you able to understand? That's why the state must be having a limited power with respect to the lives of the people, so that the people can choose their own life. The state cannot dictate the people what the people are supposed to do. That kind of restrictions are mentioned in the form of fundamental rights over the state. These are nothing but restrictions on the powers of the state. Right now, the fundamental rights are the basic rights. The fundamental rights are the basic rights which help in the all-round development of individual. The fundamental rights are the basic rights which help in the all-round development of the individual. Okay? All-round development means what? Intellectually. What is that? All-round development means what? Intellectual development. You have the right to education. You can become a director, movie director. You can become an author. You can become any intellectual person in the country. You can choose your own field of your education. That is what? Intellectual development. Okay? The fundamental rights can also help in the materialistic development of the individual. What is that? Materialistic development. Materialism. So where the people are very much interested in the materialistic life. Having home, having a car, having your own type of business, livelihood. Okay, everything is defined under materialistic life. Okay, if you want to purchase a car, the state, do you require to take the permission of the state? No. If you have money, you just make a call to the car manufacturing company. Immediately, they will book your car. So that is nothing but materialistic development. Okay, and similarly, we also another dimension. What is that? Spiritual development. What is that development? Spiritual development. So because of fundamental rights, all-round development is possible intellectually, materialistically and spiritually. Spiritually means what? Defining your relationship with God. Defining your attachment with the worldly life. With this particular world, whatever the relationship you establish, that is called as spirituality. A sense of detachment. Thinking beyond this particular physical body is nothing but spirituality. Thinking beyond this particular physical body is nothing but spirituality. Such kind of development is called as spiritual development. So because of having these fundamental rights, you can have your development in these three dimensions, which will lead to the realization of the potential of the individual. You can become whatever you want. Okay, you want to become DSP? Yes, you can become DSP. That is your choice. But subject to your success in the examination. This is how the fundamental rights are helping in the all-round development of the, what is that? Individual. Okay, right, next point. The fundamental rights also help. Protecting and preserving the individual identity. The fundamental rights also help in protecting and preserving the individual identity. Protecting and preserving individual identity. Right? Tell me whether the state can impose a rule that everybody should consume only vegetarian food. Can it be imposed by the state? No. It is nothing but preserving your individuality. Whatever you want to do, that can be protected by the constitution. Okay, protecting and preserving the individual. Okay, next point. They also protect the individual from arbitrary authority of the state. They also protect the individual from, what is that? Arbitrary authority. I told you what is the arbitrariness. Arbitrariness means what? Imposing the likes and dislikes of the ruler over the people. That is called as arbitrariness. Okay? How this arbitrariness is prevented? Got my point? Did you understand this question? How this arbitrariness is prevented? Because everything is written in the proper format. Every right is well written in the constitution, okay, which says what the state is not supposed to do, what is the state is not supposed to do. Got my point? Write down. In our constitution, the fundamental rights manifest the negative rights. Fundamental rights manifest, what is that? Negative rights. Got my point? Actually the rights are of two types. One set of rights are called as negative rights and another set of rights are called as, what is that? Positive rights. Okay, write this table, negative rights versus positive rights. Negative rights versus positive rights. Okay, under negative rights, write down the rights prescribing don'ts of the government. The rights prescribing don'ts of the government or imposing restrictions on the state's power. Or imposing restrictions over the state's power. This is what called as negative right. Okay, are you able to understand? For example, I will discuss every right, don't worry. Okay, I will discuss when the time comes. I will discuss detailedly what are the fundamental rights. Okay, for before that, you just understand. For example, you just look at Article 14. Which one? Article 14 of the Constitution. What is this Article 14? Any idea? Yes, Article 14 talks about right to equality. Everybody must be given equality. Okay, write down. Suppose note, right? Just before, not in the table, just note, write as a note. Okay. The democracy is also the democracy is not just visible in the form of election. The democracy is not just visible in the form of election, but it must also have what is that? Rule of law. But it must also have what is that? Rule of law. So it means just because government is elected by the people is not democracy. How the government functions is also the benchmark for the democracy. Got my point? Suppose if the government is prioritizing a group of people over the other people, is that democracy? No. Everybody must be treated equally is only democracy. That giving equal treatment is nothing but rule of law. That is, giving equal treatment is nothing but rule of law. It means the individual is not master. Who is master? Who is supreme? Law is supreme. Who is supreme in the country? Law is supreme in the country, but not the individual. That is what called as rule of law. That rule of law concept is being expressed in the form of which article? Article 14. Okay. Just I will give you a small example. Article 14 says, no person shall be denied with equality before law and equal protection of laws. This is what the exact statement under Article 14 of the Constitution. What does it talk about? Tell me. No person shall be denied with equality before law and equal protection of laws. Equality before law and equal protection of laws. Now you just understand how this article has started with the word no. Got my point? No person. It means you are clearly instructing the state, don't treat any person unequal. Don't treat any person unequal. Come to Article 15. It says, don't practice discrimination. That is no discrimination. What is that? No discrimination on the basis of race, religion, caste, sex and place of birth. On the basis of these grounds, no person shall be discriminated. Come to Article 16. It also says, no discrimination on the basis of 7 grounds. In the case of public employment and public opportunities. In the case of government employment. Okay. Just because a person belongs to some religion, he shall not be denied with a job. That is clearly mentioned in Article 16 of the Constitution. Okay. Article 21. No person shall be deprived of life and liberty except according to the procedure established by law. Except according to the procedure established by law. You just understand. Broadly, the fundamental rights have the connotation of, what is that? No. Okay. That's why they are effectively imposing the restrictions on the state. Yes, you have the power to notify the job. That's okay. The timing decided by the government itself. You can notify the jobs whenever you want. That's okay. It is your power. But once you notify the job, don't differentiate the people. Don't differentiate the people. Such thing is expressed in the form of Article 16. So it means you are clearly imposing the don'ts of the government or restrictions on the government. This is what called as, what is that? Negative rights. This is what called as negative rights. Okay. In other words, negative rights means you are clearly defining a zone which is prohibited for the government. The zone of the individual is prohibited for the government. You cannot come to your kitchen. The state cannot come to our kitchen. State cannot come to our bedroom. The state cannot come to our living room. Got my point? I can eat whatever I want. I can do whatever I want, but subject to the laws of the land. Just because I have right to eat, I can't eat the meat of tiger. Got my point? I can eat whatever that is permitted by the law of the land. But when I am behaving within the limits of law, the state has no power to interfere. That is what called as negative rights. The negative rights clearly prescribe what are the don'ts of the government. But on the other hand, we have the positive rights. Positive right means, write down the rights which are required to be promoted by the state. The rights which are required to be promoted by the state. Promoted by the state, where the state has to bring social reforms in the society. Social, what is that? Reforms in the society. Such rights are called as positive rights. Okay, next line. Which means positive rights are the rights. Which means the positive rights are the rights which impose positive obligations. Which impose what kind of obligations? Positive obligations. Positive obligations on the state. Positive obligations on the state. Positive obligations example, tell me, any example you can give me? Just now I told you Article 17. What does it talk about? Abolition of untouchability. The state will have to create such social atmosphere in the society. Right? Article 17 abolishes untouchability. Article 17 abolishes untouchability. Article 17 abolishes untouchability. Next, Article 23. Article 23, which prevents exploitation of labor. Which prevents what is that? Exploitation of labor. Exploitation of labor. What is the meaning of exploitation? Without giving any favorable atmosphere of workplace. That is nothing but exploitation. Imposing heavy work on the individual, exploitation. Taking the work from the people without paying the proper wages is also exploitation. Such things need to be prevented by the state. That's why these are nothing but positive obligations on the state. Next, Article 24. Article 24. What does it talk about? Abolition of child labor. Abolition of what is it? Abolition of child labor. So it means state has to abolish the child labor. Okay, right. Next line. All the DPSPs, next, and all the DPSPs come under the category of, all the DPSPs come under the category of what is that? Positive rights. All the DPSPs come under the category of positive rights. Okay, did you understand? So in this way, the constitution is talking about the do's of the government and the don'ts of the government. Got my point? Okay. So we will be dealing with fundamental rights and DPSP whenever the topic comes. Okay. So this is an essence. Did you understand what is constitution? Constitution is nothing but supreme law of the land, which explains the formation of the state and also explains the relationship between the people and the state. Did you get the complete picture of this definition? Yes or no? Is it clear for everyone? Yes. Okay. Next, write down functions of the constitution. Next side reading. Functions of the constitution. Functions of the constitution. Okay. Write down first point. Helps in coordination in society. What is that? Helps in coordination in the society. Helps in coordination in the society. What is the coordination? See, generally, what is the problem in the society? Why conflict arises in the society? Are you able to understand why the conflict arises? Conflict arises because one right of the people violates the rights of others. The rights of the people violating the similar right of others. That is the reason for the clash. That is the reason for the conflict. Suppose you are going on a road. A person is going on the bike in the zigzag manner. Okay. The right of the person to go anywhere. Okay. He has a right. Yes, I have the right. But going in a zigzag manner, I am violating the right of the other person who is also having the same right to go anywhere. So that's why this is the reason for the clash. This is the reason for the conflict. Got my point? How to avoid this conflict? By imposing the reasonable restrictions. Right now, the constitution imposes reasonable restrictions. The constitution imposes reasonable restrictions on the rights of the people, reasonable restrictions on the rights of the people, so that the rights of one person shall not be violating the rights of one person shall not be violating the similar rights of others. Okay? Right on? Here the reasonable means imposing the restrictions wherever they are necessary, imposing the restrictions wherever they are necessary, and such restrictions must be permitted by, and such restrictions must be, what is that? Permitted by Constitution. And such restrictions must be permitted by the Constitution. And such restrictions must be permitted by the Constitution. Okay? Right. For example, Article 19, Class 1, Subclass A. So let us take another example, very interesting example. For example, under Article 25 of the Constitution, under Article 25 of the Constitution, everybody has a right to religion. Everybody has a right to religion. It means right to conscience, right to profess, right to practice, right to propagate the religion. We will be detailedly discussing anyway later, but you just understand Article 25 talks about right to religion. Okay? It means I have my own right to define my the relationship with the God. I have the right to practice my religion, whichever form I want. But Article 25 also mentions certain reasonable restrictions. Certain reasonable restrictions in the form of health, public order, and what else? What else? Morality. Health, public order, and morality. Okay. So very popular example is there is a case in the Supreme Court called as Ananda Margis. What is that? Ananda Margis case. Ananda Margis case. Ananda Mat. Okay. Actually, what happened? These Ananda Mat, these are the ardent followers of Shiva, Lord Shiva. Okay. Their practice is to practice a Tandava Nritya. What is that? Tandava Nritya. Tandava Nritya means it is very, very fearful dance that is performed by Lord Shiva. It is a destructive dance. Okay? That is performed on the roads in the midnight. That too wearing human skulls as a garland and in the nude forms, making a horrible music on the streets in the midnight. Right? They claim it is a part of their right to religion. We are practicing our own religion. And that particular dance was imposed with ban by Calcutta Police Commissioner. Okay? Then they have approached the Supreme Court. What is their claim, Sir, Article 25 grants us right to religion without any interference by the state. And please grant us as it is. Then Supreme Court held that no, your right to religion is limited by Article 25 itself. Whatever the right which is giving you, whatever the article which is giving you right, the same article is also imposing the reasonable restriction on the basis of the health, public order, and morality. But suppose a huge disturbance is happening on the road, which is disturbing the lives of others. If police do not come and the police do not address that particular question, what the people do? People try to control on their own, which will be violating what? Public order. Got my point? Similarly, it is being performed in the night. Definitely it will be causing huge harm to the health of the individuals. Not everybody might be fit. These days heart is so fragile. Many people are dying from heart attack. So this could also be promoting what? Ill health, heart attack. Or it could also be promoting immorality. Morality may be violated. Morality means what? What is morality? Morality means what? It is a mindset of the individual which distinguishes what is right and what is wrong. Ability to distinguish right and wrong is called as morality. But children who are in the growing age, they do not know what is right and what is wrong. They will be learning slowly and gradually from the parents and from the society. But everything is being done this level, definitely that will be causing a huge harm to the morality of the children and society. A violent mindset will be developed. If the children are exposed to any violence, children will want to reproduce in the same behavior. So hence, the reasonable restrictions are permitted in the interest of the society. That will be helping in what? Coordination. Coordination means what? Minimizing the conflicting in the society. Minimizing the conflict in the society. Right? Does the state minimizes? Does the state minimize? Constitution. Does the Constitution minimizes the conflicts in the society by imposing the same restrictions on every section of population. Got my point? This will be helping in the coordination. Okay? Got my point? Right. Next point. Next function. The Constitution expresses the aspirations of the people. The Constitution expresses the aspirations. What is that? Aspirations of the people, the desires of the people for the new life. Okay, aspirations of the people. Okay, for example, equal society, equal rights. This is what the aspirations. Okay, right. Got my point? After American forces withdrawal from Afghanistan, okay, the people of Afghanistan, when the flights are flying, some people were hanging to the flights. Have you seen this situation? Have you seen? Did you see this particular picture? The people of Afghanistan were hanging with the tires of the flights. At least I want to get out of this country. Why? Because the people have different aspirations to come up in the life. The repressive regime in the Afghanistan, that is Taliban, who imposes heavy restrictions on the women and the lives of the people, that is not conducive for the people to realize their true potential. You want to become doctor? You can't become doctor in Afghanistan. You want to become scientist? You can't become. Why? The country's atmosphere, the political atmosphere is so repressive in nature. That's why the people want to get out of that particular situation and want to get a new life. Got my point? That's why the people's aspirations need to be satisfied by the Constitution. Otherwise it will become too dangerous for the people. Okay? The Constitution expresses the aspirations of the people. Number 3. Next point. The Constitution imposes the restrictions on the state. The Constitution imposes the restrictions on the state. Okay? Hence, it establishes limited government. What is that government? Limited government. The Constitution establishes what? Limited government. Limited government. Okay? In the examination they will ask you, constitutional government means A. Limited government, unlimited government, arbitrary government. What is the government? Limited government. Constitutional government is nothing but limited government. Okay? The constitutional government is associated with what? DPSP or fundamental rights? Fundamental rights. Because fundamental rights impose the restrictions on the powers of the state. Hence, constitutional government is nothing but limited government. Okay? Next point. Next one. The Constitution provides various organs and institutions and allocates the decision making power among them, and allocates decision making power among them. Okay? So it means you are giving the institutions and the structures and who are vested with the decision making power. Okay? Right. For example, actually the state is having 3 important organs. The state is having 3 important vital organs. Vital means what? Suppose if I ask you, what is the vital organ in your body? What are the vital organs? Brain, heart, kidney and liver. These are vital organs. If any organ is in problem, no problem. They can be corrected back to the health. But these organs are so important. Any irreversible damage will endanger the life itself. Similarly, the state is having three important organs. Okay? The organs of the state includes, one is legislature, executive, and what else? The third one is judiciary. Okay, write down. The state has three organs, three vital organs. The state has three vital organs, which include legislature, executive, and judiciary. Legislature, executive, and judiciary. Okay. Let us stop at this point. Okay. Meet you in the tomorrow's class. So if you have any concerns or any doubts, please freely express in the class. I can repeat the same point. I can give you different kinds of examples. Okay. Don't hesitate to ask the questions. Okay. Any minute, any small doubt is there, don't keep them in your mind, because you may accumulate the problems and eventually you may deject from the examination itself. That cannot be the situation. Everybody must be freely engaging in the class. You are free to ask any question in the classroom, okay, so that we can understand in a better form. Okay, right? Is it everything clear for you? Do you find any problem with my language, my jargon, my examples? Is it everything okay? Right. Thank you. Meet you in the next class.